where Ms. Klain indicated that one of the reasons for which the school board did not meet with the neighbors is that they were greeted with comments of concerns the neighbors may be commencing litigation. There are two aspects of that hit a chord. One is, I think that Commissioner Whalen has hit upon. It's unfortunate if we deal with litigation, but somewhere along the line, the school board needs to ask itself, why is it that was a knee-jerk reaction to some of the people, as opposed to them reaching out and being able to, quickly sit down. Secondly, there's an element of irony there when I hear the school board say, we don't want to talk to someone for its litigation. And the irony is that in all candor, take all of the private developers together, they do not equal the number of lawsuits that we have with the school board. And some of the issues that we find ourselves in litigating with the school board, I've characterized, we'll just say, as silly. And that may be putting it polite and unnecessary, and I hope that we're able to move forward with that. But it also becomes a chilling effect. If everybody's threatened with litigation and fearful of litigation, then you don't have the dialogue. And it is something that we all, and I mean all of us, that means this board, the school board, the members of the township, we need to work on to improve. We should not ever find ourselves, in my humble opinion, in situations where elected bodies are suing one another, just as a waste of time, energy, and taxpayer money. The other issue is that the concept of school start time was brought forth. That's a school district decision as to when the schools start. That is within their jurisdiction. We frequently say that each board must remain in its lane. But when it's brought up to us as the basis upon which a land development issue is brought forth, then we find ourselves in a situation of potentially having to comment. But I wish not to do that. I believe that what the school board is required to do, if they have not made that decision, is to make sure that they have that open and free debate within their own board. I have heard from a number of people. I have been inundated with articles. Each of those who are for and against tell me that the science is clear. We live in a period of time right now that we may have recognized that science is anything but clear, and that there are enough studies out there that go in both directions as to whether this is a good concept, whether it is one that is for health, or whether this is not. There are studies that say it doesn't do anything to enhance academic performance. There are all of these societal ramifications for changing start times, where some people go later, some go earlier, how it affects childcare, how it affects people and their jobs and everything else. There are a breadth of materials that are out there. And I hope before the school board makes this determination, albeit it sounds like they have, but I hope before they do it that this is publicly vetted so that the township as a whole will be able to make this determination. Which way they go with that falls within their jurisdiction. Consequently, then, when Mr. Driscoll states that this shouldn't be about parking or sidewalks or something like that, respectively, he is in error. That is land development. That is what this board is supposed to do. Those are the safety concerns that we have about this. Is there adequate parking for this? Is there adequate sidewalk because there'll be more foot traffic in there? These are the concerns that this board is to address. And it is unclear what is going to happen. Granted, as Commissioner McComb accurately points out, there are elements of unknown that we're not going to recognize until it occurs. But we find ourselves in a situation where, as Commissioner Churchill points out, there are more amendments that have been put forth here to address issues in this plan than any one that I can recollect. He's 11 years, I think I'm 9 years of being on this board, where we've had to go do the work here at the dais that should have been done in the plan that's been presented to us. There also is the question that is raised, why now? In that we are in the midst of a pandemic. We are watching that the school board just raised their assessment for taxes. We have not. But on many occasions, I recollect making comments, if these statistics are a drop-off, excuse me, that the county has 10% of your local taxes, the township has 12% of your local taxes and 78% is the school board. And residents quickly remind me, yes, but it all comes out of the same wallet. And we do pay attention to what everybody else does. And at this period of time, to tack on another $1 million of expenses when we're about to have about, $110 million for a new school is a real question mark. Why do this now? What is that sense of urgency? Also, there has been repeated statements about the small amount of people, having some inconvenience and they ought to take one for the team for the entire township. Don't subscribe to that school of thought. Those people that live near that school will have a major adjustment to their community. There is no doubt about that will occur. Even with the thoughtful conditions that are here, that will occur. And we need to be mindful of that entire community in the same way we would be mindful of any one resident within our community. And it is too myopic a view to say it's just the surrounding people who are impacted, because it is those residents that live near any institution, those residents that live near any potential field where there may be other lights, whose thought process that we need to keep in mind as we go ahead and do this. So the neighbors there are sitting in a very, very difficult situation. Some have indicated, yes, they bought properties next to a school. Indeed, they did. They bought properties next to a field, not next to an amusement park. This is a major, major change that's going to take place in their lives. And to push it off without due consideration for that, I think would be an error of both boards, and it needs to be taken into consideration. Also, I want to make reference where somebody indicated the comp plan. Please make note, the comp plan is not law. As a matter of fact, the MCP states that you cannot rely upon the comp plan whenever you are making law, but it does give us guidance. And my recollection, as being one of the few members on the board that was here when that was passed, and there were discussions about court lights, that was tennis courts. All right, that was not lights on other fields for playing. So let's just be careful about what we rely upon for statements as to where we're going forward. All of that being said, the question becomes, what's the obligation of this board? And there has been a number of issues that have been brought forth as to questioning whether, as a matter of law, we are able to go ahead and stop this. Are the arguments that our esteemed former colleague, Commissioner Rosenzweig, had brought forth, are they winnable or are they not? I'm not 100% certain, but what I am sure about is if we do not prevail, the ability to get the conditions that we want to have into this plan, they evaporate. So I will sit here this evening a little bit ambivalent at this point, even at 11:20, recognizing we have a long way to go, similar to Vice President Gavin, waiting to see what's going to happen, A, with our vote on these proposed amendments, and B, whether the school board will accept them 100% in total or not. That will be a driving factor as to the ultimate vote.